They say people buried in coffins can break through and escape, and there's a scene just like this in a movie. The female protagonist is buried 6 feet underground. She uses an inch punch to break open the coffin lid, then claws through the dirt to escape to freedom. But is this actually possible in real life? The MythBusters team decided to test it themselves. Based on coffin dimensions, they calculated that a person inside would only have 3 inches of punching space. So first, they needed to determine how much force a person can generate with just 3 inches of clearance. To measure this, Grant designed a sensor device that uses computer calculations to measure punch force. After testing, Tori's normal punch registered 1,430 pounds of force, while with only 3 inches of space, it dropped to just 781 pounds. But in the movie, the protagonist is a martial artist, so they brought in a professional boxer. What do you think happened? Drop your prediction in the comments. Through testing, the boxer's normal punch delivered 714 pounds, but inside the simulated coffin, the maximum force reached only 1,482 pounds. But could this be enough to break through a coffin lid? Kari built a coffin using wooden boards matching the exact specifications from the movie, with board thickness reaching 1 inch. To observe what happens inside, one side of the coffin was made with transparent glass. They planned to cover the coffin with 6 feet of dirt, but no one volunteered to attempt this experiment. Left with no choice, Grant created a robot that could automatically punch, adjusting the punch force to match the boxer's range. The first experiment would take place indoors without dirt. According to calculations, the air inside the coffin would only allow for 60 punches, meaning if the robot couldn't break open the coffin after 60 attempts, you'd simply be waiting to die. They closed the coffin lid, and the test officially began. Surprisingly, the very first punch created a crack in the coffin lid. It then continued striking at a rate of 20 punches per minute, but after 30 minutes, it still hadn't broken through the lid. It appears a person cannot break open this coffin lid. However, if the coffin were buried 6 feet deep in dirt, the lid would be under 160 pounds of pressure. Would this make the lid easier to break through? The next experiment will be even more thrilling. Follow for part 2 to see what happens when they bury it underground.